for one reading from The Science of Mind magazine, The Daily Guides. It has been a busy day. I'm sure everybody sees the world differently. And our author for today sees it slightly differently as well. She's called this session Face Your Pain. And of course, this is from The Science of Mind magazine, The Daily Guides. Maybe I would have given it a different title, but anyway, see what you think. First quote is from Michael Singer. He's a well-known author, speaker, journalist. He used to be a software engineer, and he's written lots and lots of books. And the one that is quoted from today by Rev Kelly is from The Untethered Soul. Michael A. Singer. If you want to grow and be free to explore, you cannot spend your life avoiding things that might hurt your heart or mind. So if you want to grow and be free to explore life, you cannot spend your life avoiding things that might hurt your heart or your mind. And the Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook says it somewhat differently. The universe is a perfect, undivided whole, and healing can take place only when one is unified with it. And of course, he uses universe to refer to what some people call God, what some people call the ground of all being, what some people call spirit, and what some people don't know what to call it. And this is Reverend Kelly. She said, I was in Las Vegas at a coaching conference, and the leader had us approach people on the strip and ask questions. This was a hands-on activity for our growth and development. Over the course of the 4 days, I kept crying. I didn't understand why, and I was embarrassed. Right in the middle of an excuse, I was right in the middle of an exercise, must have been a Freudian slip. Right in the middle of an exercise, I was overcome by tears. Eventually, I told the leader what was happening, and he kindly explained that I needed to let my tears out. He invited me to take time to cry when I got home. He asked me to allow everything to come up and flow through and out of me. He explained I needed to heal before I could move forward. I needed to give myself time, but not too much time, he cautioned, to grieve. It's common for us to avoid facing the darkness in our lives. It doesn't feel good, and we innately avoid what makes us uncomfortable. Because we don't admit our pain, it ends up haunting us. You find yourself crying on the strip in Las Vegas for no reason. You become the victim of your unhealed pain rather than the healed soul we came here to be. To heal and be whole, we must embrace the hurt, allowing it to be what it is. We must be present with it and let the grief, the loss, whatever it is, run its course. And then we can release it. In addition to healing ourselves, our pain allows us to understand others who also are in pain. We become a source of healing and a source of compassion. I have no argument whatsoever with that last paragraph. Well, I don't have an argument per se with the whole reading. It might have been called Face Your Pain and Face Your Fear, because this is what she talks about in here. But there's a good book by a Dutch doctor who now lives I think he lives in New York. He lives in the US anyway, called Bessel van der Kolk. And the book is called The Body Keeps the Score. And what his theory is, people have disputed it and people have agreed with it. His theory is that when we undergo a traumatic event, either a small one or a big one, that we store that pain somewhere in our bodies unless we find a way to release it. And then when we store too much of it, it's got really awful consequences. And people act things out in all sorts of ways. You know, we we tend to condemn people who carry out atrocious acts. But in reality, apart from the few people who are just pure psychos, in reality, if you look at the lives of people who carried out acts which nobody on earth should be agreeing with or could agree with, then you'll find that in their past, there's a lot of unhealed stuff and that it's worked its way through. You know, we call it mental illness. It goes by lots of different names. But the bottom line is that when things happen to us, we have to find a way to let it out. And the normal human way of letting it out is to grieve. And although the instructor told Reverend Kelly, he says, I needed to give myself time, but not too much time, he cautioned, to grieve. The thing is, we don't know how long it takes to grieve. Some people never get over it. But it goes less and less and less over time. But time doesn't heal all hurt. It's working through the pain that actually helps to release it a lot. So this is a really important thing to do. And in order to do it, we often need some help. We need help either of a minister, a practitioner, a therapist. You know, one way that I do it, and I'm not plugging what I do right now, maybe I'll do that at some other time and in some other way, is emotional freedom technique, which actually does help to release a lot of trauma. In fact, I'm helping teach a class last Saturday and Sunday, yesterday and today, and then next Sunday, and then following Saturday after that. And what we were working with today was trauma, and people were working. They were paired up. People would actually bring up a traumatic event in their life, and then the other person practicing emotional freedom technique. This is at an advanced level, by the way, would help them work through it. So there's lots and lots of different ways. That is one way that we can do it. There's lots and lots of ways out there, but the bottom line is we often need help in doing this. And sometimes it can be just a partner, but oftentimes it needs to kind of move up the scale when it gets bigger and bigger. And if it's really major, then you do need to work with a therapist to get through this, which isn't said here, but it's, I guess, kind of implied. So sometimes we need other people to help us face our fears and to help us face our pain. And let me see. The affirmation, I know and feel my oneness with the universe. You can substitute whatever word you want in there. I know and feel my oneness with the whole, whatever it is, God, I would call it. But I know a lot of people are allergic to the word God. I'm not. It doesn't have any trauma for me. I boldly face my darkness and heal. If we do this in such a way that we leave ourselves open to getting outside help if necessary, then that's good. I boldly face my darkness and I heal. It's with or without the work and help of others. So it's an important topic. It's one of those things that we definitely should not keep compressed, should let it go. It's the old pressure cooker idea. You know, if you stuff things in a pressure cooker and heat it up, then of course it's supposed to cook a lot faster and it's supposed to retain a lot more of the nutrients. But if you keep that pressure going too long, the pressure cooker, eventually it will blow the valve. And that happens with a lot of people. So it is important that we do our spiritual work and that we recognize where we have major issues and we do work on them with or without the help of an outside party. So that's all I got for today, except to say I hope you saw the service this morning. I couldn't because I was busy helping teach a class. I know Reverend Lisa will be back tomorrow at 9:15-ish. I'll be back tomorrow evening at 5-ish. And until next time, I'm going to start plugging my class shortly. It used to be called Shaking Up Your Subconscious. It's gone back to the name of the book. It's kind of a book study, but with groups. to help us actually work through the ideas that are in the book. And it's called Trance of Scarcity. And if you want to find out more about it, you can email me at D as in David, B as in Barbara, last name Dewhurst, DEWHURST at Comcast.net. dbdewhurst at Comcast.net, and I will send you more details. So until next, it's starting on the second week in February. It's going to be starting the second full week in February. More about that later. Remember, Reverend Lisa tomorrow. Come back tomorrow evening for another reading, courtesy of Reverend Kelly, and I'll see everybody later. Namaste.